Hello, friends, and welcome to Pour and Explore wine, food, and travel stories from around the world. I'm Nick Elliott, the Wine Guy. This is where we sip, savor, and wander through the world of wine, explore incredible food, and uncover the stories behind unforgettable destinations. Each week, you'll hear engaging conversations with wine pros, chefs, travelers, and fellow enthusiasts, plus educational episodes to help you sip smarter and explore deeper. So, grab a glass, pull up a chair, and let's pour, explore, and celebrate the good life. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Pour and Explore wine, food, and travel stories from around the world. Today we're exploring a simple but powerful truth. Food travels. A dish that looks and feels familiar in one country might show up halfway across the world in a totally different form, carrying centuries of migration, trade, and tradition with it. In this episode, we're going to call it One Dish, Many Stories. We're going to look close at three universal comfort dishes: dumplings, noodles, and meat pies. And we're going to trace on how they've crisscrossed the globe, picking up flavors, meanings, and identity all along the way. So let's sit back, relax, grab yourself a dish of pasta, grab yourself some dumplings, maybe one of those little meat pies that you've got in the freezer, and let's follow along with Pour and Explore. Let's start with dumplings. Dumplings are just little pockets of history. Dumplings are proof that people everywhere come to the same delicious conclusion. Wrap dough around filling, cook it, and share it. And that's all you got to do. In China, you've got so many. When we think about dumplings, we automatically go to China. Dim sum, whether it's steamed or boiled or deep fried during Chinese New Year or whatever the case is, these things have been prepped in kitchens for thousands of years. Think about that, thousands of years. We're taking little bits of pork and shrimp and ginger and scallion and soy sauce and putting them into little pockets of and steaming them or frying them. And I can't say enough. Some of my favorite restaurants here, some of my favorite restaurants around the world are dim sum restaurants. And I'll give a shout out to Yanksing up in San Francisco. James Beard Award winning dumplings, if that makes sense at all. And places here in San Diego where I live are just taking the dumpling gang, not little dumpling gang, the dumpling game to the next level. And it really is a way to experience not only Chinese culture and cuisine, but the traditions that go into the preparation of these dumplings, the amount of work. My chef buddy, Chef John, who taught me a lot about what I know, talks about handwork when it comes to working in kitchen. And as someone who's been on that prep line, I know all about handwork, and that's things that you do, very small, delicate work with your hand. Garmage, for example, the people who make the garnishes for your dishes in fancy restaurants or any restaurant for that matter, the amount of work that goes into producing every single one of those dumplings, it just shows how much love and dedication and preparation and tradition goes into every single one of those. Much like I talk about the love and care and the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into making a bottle of wine, next time you go to a dumpling restaurant, I want you to think about that too. The amount of work that went into making every single one of little bite-sized morsels that are going into your mouth. I want you to think about that and make sure you give a little smile to the chef as you walk out the door, because they really did work very hard doing that for you. And of course, they are the most amazing things in the world, whether we're talking about Shanghai dumplings or shumai or my son's favorite, uh, deep fried crab claws at the dumpling restaurants. They're just so wonderful. And I cannot say enough about the amazing tradition that goes into making dim sum and Chinese dumplings. When we talk about things being wrapped in dough, of course, we cannot not talk about ravioli and to some respect, tortellini as well. Little pasta envelopes filled with cheese and herbs and meats. Again, traditions that go back maybe not thousands of years, but certainly hundreds of years coming from Italy. And the amazing thing that chefs are doing with ravioli and tortellini nowadays, of course, lobster ravioli and spinach and cheese ravioli and meat ravioli and tortellini with herb and Parmesan cheese and the different types of wrappers that were, I could go on for days and days talking about the amazing things that we do with ravioli. And then on top of that, literally on top of that, all of the wonderful sauces that we can with ravioli and tortellini, which really do mix up the flavors and the style, and you really can have fun with it. And there's a certain restaurant whose name will not be mentioned on this show, but you can go and you can get your pasta any way that you want it, and you can try it this way, then you can try it that way, the sauce and so on, which I think is an awesome idea, but I'm talking about another thing there. Let's move over. We're going to stay in Europe, but we're going to move over to more of Eastern Europe. Pierogi in Poland, vareniki in Ukraine, pelmeni, Russia. These are dumplings, dough filled with potatoes, mushrooms, sauerkraut, cheese, meat, you name it, kreplach. Jewish food lore, just absolutely amazing dumplings filled with anything that you can possibly think of, served in so many different ways, deep fried, steamed, pan fried, served with, my goodness, served with all types of sauces and gravies, sour cream, applesauce. It's, if you've not tasted any of these things, I would highly, I grew up in a Polish neighborhood in Philadelphia, and I grew up around the corner from a store that made fresh pierogi every day. So you go in and get a pound of fresh pierogi and kielbasa and fresh sauerkraut that they make there and store it. I've got so many wonderful memories about going to that place and coming home and making this fresh food that was made by hand by a local grocer, a small mom and pop store. Again, I could go on for hours about that. But again, I mean, we're just proving right here that dumplings of all kinds can be found anywhere in the world and are accessible and readily available. And there's so many different things you can do with them. So I definitely want you to get that out there and try maybe one or two of the things that I've talked about. Stop by your local restaurants if they have any in there on their menu. Let's go down to Latin America real quick, because in Latin America, there's a lot of amazing countries who have beautiful empanadas or patties. Sometimes they call them. I know Costa Rica, they call them patties. Down in Argentina, empanadas, and they are meat filled, cheese filled, vegetable filled dough half moons, if you will. But again, we're wrapped in dough, and empanadas are typically baked. Sometimes they're fried, but typically baked. Something a little bit larger that you can hold in your hand and filled with everything that you can possibly think of traditional to Latin American countries or South American countries. Beef and beans and cheese and plantains and oh my, so good. And not to mention all of the dipping sauces that go along with it. Highly recommend trying empanadas. There's a great empanada shop, whose name I'm totally spacing on right now, here in San Diego. Liberty Public Market, and you just walk by their empanada stand, and the smell, the cinnamon, the savory aromas that are coming from this place just absolutely blow my mind every time I walk by. Of course, I have to stop in. Here in the States, we are not slouches when it comes to dumplings either. A staple dish from the South. Of course, I am talking about chicken and dumplings done a little bit differently, where the dumplings are actually in the dish as opposed to the dish being in the dumpling. A little bit different, but definitely little pillows of comfort and just soaking up the creamy broth and the chicken and dumplings. And it doesn't need to be chicken and dumplings. Throw some dumplings in your beef stew the next time you're making it, or whatever. Be creative with it. Chicken and dumplings is absolutely one of my favorite dishes in the world as a chef. I've had chicken and dumplings on several restaurants that I've worked, and they were always a hit, always amazing and absolutely delicious. If this first segment didn't give you an idea what we're talking about today, one dish, many stories. We're looking at universal truths, universal comfort dishes when it comes to food. Different shapes and different flavors, but the same soul in this first example. Dumplings are born of resourcefulness and family tradition, and I love every single bit of it. So I hope you do too. Now, I would be remiss about talking about universal comfort food if I did not talk about noodles or pasta, if you will. If dumplings are the little pockets of love, noodles are the threads that tie cultures together. And again, going back to China, when we're talking about these dishes, we have to talk about China because that's where a lot of these originated thousands of years ago. The Chinese are trendsetters, and the way that they utilize the things around them and just make so many wonderful things like the hand-pulled mian, and just the beautiful pastas that they're making, all different types of noodles from flour, semolina, to potatoes, et cetera, what they're doing. And of course, covering those noodles in beautiful vegetables and meat and sauces of all kinds, just absolutely mind-boggling. And every single dish is fabulous. We go across the water there to Japan. And of course, Japan has its own beautiful culinary designs when it comes to noodles as well. Ramen, soba, udon, noodle bowls are a national icon in Japan and somewhat here in the States as well. I can't go 3 blocks here in San Diego without running into another noodle restaurant, and they're always packed. There's always someone inside, so it's gotta be good. It just goes to show you what a comfort dish means if it's easily accessible, if it's delicious, if it's something that maybe reminds you of home, maybe it's something that reminds you of a great memory with a loved one or a spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case may be. Comfort food, and I'll do another episode on comfort food as a whole, but today we are talking about different threads of food, pardon the pun, that connects us together and connects traditions from around the world. And of course, we cannot talk about noodles without talking about Italy. Again, pasta. Hundreds of shapes, spaghetti, farfalle, every single shape, design, rid, detail, all of that stuff is designed for a specific purpose, a specific sauce, if you will. And the way that the Italians have been putting pasta out there for, again, hundreds of years, just doing amazing things. And whether it's fresh pasta or dried pasta from the grocery store, whether it's a long noodle like fettuccine or more of a something that you're really going to get your sauce in, like a rigatoni or something along those lines. I cannot say how many wonderful memories, again, that I have just sitting around a table eating beautiful pasta. My mother to San Diego a few years back. She's recently moved back to my hometown of Philadelphia. And for her going away meal, I did pasta and meatballs because I'm not Italian. I didn't grow up Italian, but I did grow up knowing and cooking and eating a lot of. And I know that's one of my mom's favorites. That's a memory that's going to stick with me and hopefully her for a long time. Just sitting around eating beautiful pasta, talking about memories from years past and the time that she was here, and just having a great time. These memories are something that's going to stick with me forever. And I hope that food has that same effect on you and the ones you love. So let's move on before I start to choke up over here. Uh, Again, let's move into Central Europe, Germany, Central Europe. Things like a spätzle. Spätzle is little egg noodle. I don't know what spätzle is. Go look it up. It'll take me too long to explain it, but it's little pieces of pasta made with egg. They're hearty. They're oddly shaped and they are absolutely perfect in every way. They're perfect with gravy. They're perfect with your meat dish. They're perfect with your fish dish. They're perfect with a stein of beer. But the spätzle is absolutely wonderful. If you've not had the opportunity to there are great German restaurants in every major city in the country, some more than others. North in the middle. German restaurant on every corner, just like the door restaurants here in San Diego. But it's really worth trying if you've not had the opportunity. And again, it's just another pasta, another noodle that goes beyond spaghetti. It goes beyond ramen. Something a little bit different and absolutely worth trying. And then we think about pad thai noodles in Thailand, pho noodles in Vietnam, beloved street foods that are doing amazing things with noodles all around Southeast Asia. Wonderful foods, amazing flavors. And again, there's not much of a difference between a pad thai noodle and fettuccine, not a ton of difference, but just how they're paired and what they're paired with, how they're prepared. It really is fascinating. And of course, coming over here to the States, a little elbow macaroni, some mac and cheese. I grew up on elbow macaroni, but mac and cheese is being made with every single type of pasta I can think of. Mac and cheese, spaghetti and meatballs, traditions that our immigrant forefathers brought with them and made their own here in the States. I have no idea where mac and cheese came from, but I'm glad it's here. I'm glad I get to enjoy it on a regular basis because it is one of my favorite dishes in the world. Noodles, as you can see by these examples, they're just adaptable, democratic, endlessly comforting, and they stretch across continents like little edible bridges. So I hope you love your pasta as much as I do. So for our last universal dish, we're going to talk a little bit about meat pies. The meat pie might be the most global dish of them all. Dough, meat, and heat. And you're done. That's all there is. The history, it's been written into, meat pies have been written into books, written into stories, scary stories, as well as funny stories for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And it just goes to show you how important meat pies are to the entire world. In the UK and Ireland, we've got steak and kidney pie, Cornish pasties. A lot of these dishes that I'm about to talk about were really made for the everyman, just something simple. Again, you take a piece of dough, you put some meat, maybe some vegetables and some cheese inside, you bake it or you deep fry it, and you're done. It's easy, it's inexpensive, and it's also fast in a lot of cases. So great for laborers and folks who are just walking down the street. Think of those things as street food. Think of these things as street food. I mentioned empanadas in the talk earlier about dumplings. I would make the argument that you could also think about empanadas as meat pies. They ride that line a little bit, taking that same idea of the steak and kidney pie or the pasties, just filling dough with spiced meats, vegetables, cheese, pairing them along with some beautiful sauces like maybe chimichurri or salsa roja, something along those lines. Just great flavors, easy, inexpensive, and absolutely delicious. There are meat pies in the Middle East as well. Sfiha, little open-faced pies, lamb and spices, potatoes, peas, things that all go into these beautiful dishes that you'll find in the Middle East, places like Iran and Saudi Arabia. In and around those areas, you're going to find all types of beautiful meat pies because, again, just stuffing some meat and veggies into some dough, baking it, deep frying it. It really is a type of dish that spans so many different cultures around the world. And at one point, these things started somewhere, who knows where. And as we spread around the globe, we all have our new own little perfection of a meat pie. Going down to Australia and New Zealand, probably one of the most favorite places for meat pies. You can get meat pies at sporting events. You can get meat pies at your local corner shop. Every restaurant, they've got specialty restaurants that make nothing but meat pies. And again, the flavors are going to be different. The toppings are going to be different, but the feel and the tradition is still going to be there. I talked a little bit about patties, Central America, and somewhat in the Caribbean as well. Absolutely cross that line between meat pie and dumpling. Flaky golden crust filled with spicy beef concoction. They're usually spicy. I'll warn you in advance. Spicy, some kind of meat, whether it's goat or lamb or beef or chicken, it's going to be something like that. And you're going to get a little sauce to go along with that to even kick up the spice a little bit more. They love their patties in Jamaica and Costa Rica. Beautiful places, beautiful food, beautiful people, of course, and just wonderful stuff coming from Central America and the Caribbean when it comes to meat pies. And of course, again, ending up here in the States, we love our chicken pot pie or beef pot pie or ham pot pies here in the U.S. Creamy sauce with your favorite meat and vegetables under buttery crust. And actually, we just had chicken pot pie the other night and it was awesome. I did a little roasted broccoli on the side with a creamy chicken pot pie with that crust. It was so good, flaky and delicious, and I cannot get enough. Every meat pie tells a story of practicality and comfort. These are foods that were built for survival, certainly, but they were loved enough to stick around for generations upon generations. And I'm so glad that we have them. And I'm so glad that you're listening. So, why does all of this matter? What do dumplings, noodles, and meat pies have in common? I was thinking about that exact question when I was prepping this episode, and I think what they do is they prove that no matter where you're from, people share the same instinct. Take what's available Stretch it as much as you possibly can. Make it nourishing, and most of all, make it comforting. Being a human being is hard work. Eating food should not be hard work, in my opinion. It might be hard work to make the food. It might be hard work to make the money to buy the food, but to be able to sit down and enjoy a beautiful dish of whatever, pasta, let's say, with friends and family, or even, yeah, or heck, even by yourself, just sitting down and enjoying your own company. It's what's important. These three styles of dish, these three dishes that I'm talking about right now, for lack of a better term, edible history. They can carry to us through migration, through trade, through hardship, joy, and they are absolutely tradition in every single bite. And when you sit down with a pierogi or a bowl of ramen or a slice of chicken pot pie, you are connected to the millions of people across the centuries who found comfort in the same idea. So cheers to you. Very good. Here is my challenge to you. Pick a dish, dumplings, noodles, meat pie, and try it from a culture that is new to you this week. I encouraged you to go to your local German restaurant and try some spätzle. I got an empanada joint close by, and you've never tried empanadas before. I want you to go try that empanada restaurant. If you've never had ramen before, go try a bowl of ramen. Talk to the people that are there. Let them tell you what's going to be best for you and your taste buds. And I would love for you to, as you're eating it, think about the journey that dish has taken to land on your plate. And of course, I would love for you to share that feedback with me. If you're checking this out on YouTube, leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. You are on one of my many social platforms. Definitely check that out. And of course, if you're listening, leave me a comment in the comment section as well. And of course, if you want more food, wine, and travel stories like this one, come hang out with me on all social platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc., etc. But listen to the podcast, listen to all of the previous episodes of the podcast, and I share recipes, pairings, behind the scenes from tastings, and plenty of global inspiration for you, my friend. You'll find me on all of those places, so please come say hi and make sure you follow wherever you go. And until next time, keep wandering and keep tasting the stories that we all share. Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Pour and Explore. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear your stories or questions. Drop me a message at cheers@thewineguy.vin. That's cheers@thewineguy.vin. Or let's connect on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. Grab those links at thewineguy.vin. Until next time, let's keep wondering and wandering. Cheers, everybody.